Hey guys, what's up? Thought we'd carry on our road to 1700. Now, I'm not feeling my most powerful today. That's a fun blitz session that's uploading right now, so my internet connection out here in the middle of nowhere isn't going to be the strongest. Okay, so we're facing an English against Lemon 777 from Gabon. I think that's a small country in Africa. Well, it might be a big country in Africa, who's rated 1638. And I'm going to play, assuming that they're going to go c4, I might get into a Black Knight's Tango. So a lot of the, when you face these unusual starts, think about where it could go. Now, we might have Knight c3, we might have Pawn to c4. This is the Anglo-Indian defence. So playing an Indian style against the English makes perfect sense. There's also an Anglo-Dutch if you push f5 here. So kind of mirroring White's opening. Okay, so they're going for a fianchetto on this side of the board. Now I can't do the same, right? Because they get their bishop in first. I can't put my bishop here because I simply lose the bishop and then the rook. So that ain't going to happen. So we have options. Now, nobody's claimed the centre yet. Yeah, I can put my knight here. It's absolutely fine. I can go for a classic Indian. I mean, e5 is playable. I know e5 is actually an aggressive move against the English. Staking our claim on these dark squares in the centre. Because he's gone for these light squares here. e5. His knight's going to come out here, I should imagine. So if e5, I guess I can bring my bishop out if his knight ever goes to there. Let's play e5. Sod it, let's play e5. Nice bright sunny day. I'll probably look like Casper the Friendly Ghost on the video, don't matter. Okay, out comes the knight. Now, I'm going to play this without much hesitation. In a lot of Indians, okay, knight comes now to here. So, this is interesting. If I take... He takes towards the centre. He's now also attacking my bishop. I can't defend with the queen. I'm going to take the knight. This gives him now 3 central pawns, although this one's pinned right now. I've got to be careful about the queen coming out, obviously. So, for example, d6 here would be a big mistake, as queen comes out to here, forking king with check and the bishop, and there's nothing I can do about it because I can't play my knight to c6. So we don't want that at all. I can just castle, and then d6 is maybe playable. So what if the queen comes out anyway? I think castles make sense here. If the queen comes out, I can just drop back. I can drop back to here. I'd like to block this. So I'm immediately thinking about d6 now. And one reason is because this pawn is forever going to be in their bishop's way. But he's going to be able to break at some point with the move d4, challenging my central pawn. I like this. It unleashes my bishop. It also gives my knight a square where it can go because it can't currently go to c6. And this, yeah, let's play that. My bishop can always drop back here, maybe even here. This is the Kramnik-Shirov counterattack against the reversed Sicilian version of the English. Go figure. What's reverse Sicilian about it? I guess because it's a C pawn, isn't it? Now this is an interesting one. So is he preparing d4? Well, he can't play d4 right now because of this pin. Now a5 here could cause me problems because of that. If I go here, he plays here. I'd have to drop back. maybe it's possible. I don't know. Now, I'd like to bring my bishop there. I can't right now. I'd like to put my knight here, I guess. But again, that shuts in the bishop. I don't really want to do that either. b6, bishop a6 is possible here. And that would also prevent short castles, because he ain't castling that side. So doing this kind of Benko style, covering that square, he can't push this pawn to here. But then also another idea at some point could be to counter with c6, weakening this pawn. Right? Let's say if I played c6 now, and he takes, I can take with a knight, and my knight's got a good square. This is a very common idea against these advanced. Like, for example, if you play d4 and the England gambit and they advance, I'll very often think about so c6 now. Or I could just stick my bishop on d7 in preparation for this. c6. Am I threatening to take here? I guess I am. I kind of like this though. I like the idea of preventing the queen from coming out to a4 anyway. I think that's okay. And thinking about c6, it's now well defended. If it takes, I might even just take towards the centre with the pawn, giving myself an isolated pawn on the a file. I understand that. Here he kicks again. I come back here. Or I go straight to c5, but then c5 he kicks again, I come back. It's the same difference, isn't it, really? But I'm still maintaining this pin on the d-pawn for now. If he double kicks, I come back to c6, b6. The f5 break makes sense. Again, I've got this central pawn chain that's pointing this way. And in general, when you've got you will generally attack towards the side where your central pawn chain points. So if white was to do this, they might be thinking about attacking this way. Right? And should e4 ever be played, I have the option of the f5 break challenging this pawn here. Okay, so 97, 92. Okay, now the king can castle, obviously. I'm seriously considering c6. I mean, I could strike out with f5 now and kind of announce my intentions of bullying him up the king side. But I might let him castle first. c6 now. I like it. My bishop might have a home here on b6. Actually, my bishop could even then come back to c7 if it wanted to at some point, but then it's really looking at the back of these pawns' heads. It's interesting to face an unusual opening. Okay, now my hunch is to come back to b6 with the bishop. If he pushes on, I can always jump. Oh no, I can't. Here pushes. I could just challenge him there then, couldn't I? If I go here, he pushes on. I can play a6 even, just to give my bishop a pocket here where it can hide. I think that's alright. I don't think I'm stressed about this move. If this ever comes, I could even take there, but don't know. Knight. Does he want to come in here to harass the bishop? Is he really that worried about my bishop? I might also think about moving my queen to give my bishop d8 if it should need it. from there does it have prospects? Well, my opponent's got a lot of pawns on dark squares. Notice he's got 7 pawns on dark squares, which means that this bishop is going to be constrained. Or is he just double defending this? I could even push on here. The threat of pushing again, opening up my bishop, or push on should this pawn advance. Oh, I don't know. I really don't know. If I take, knight comes in, harasses my bishop. f5, queen f6. This bishop needs to get, or somebody needs to get out of the way for my knight to come into the game. I don't know about this move. Something just says, but then again, if he pushes, the knight defends the pawn. I'll just push a6. Don't know. I'm going to play f5, I think. Down to 9 minutes already. But I'm really kind of starting to stake my claim over this area of the board. Also, his bishop is forever bad, unless he can resolve this somehow. But if he takes, and I take with a pawn, I've got quite a healthy lump of pawns in the middle of the board. Okay, we have castles, finally. Now I'm just inclined to move my queen. My bishop could pivot round. It's quite bad at the minute because it can't see anything. If I take bishop round to here, maybe. I'm gonna move that bishop out. It just feels like it needs to be elsewhere. It's got options, could go here or here, but now I can also move my knight. Can't do that immediately because he's got takes, and then my bishop can't see to defend on c6. But if I play bishop f7, I'm maybe threatening to capture like he did towards the centre. He's got 2 interesting pawn breaks at some point. He's got maybe d4, he's got maybe f4 as well. If d4, I could even just push here. Is it time to pour a cup of tea? Okay, it might be. Got a new teapot. There's just black tea and ginkgo in there. Okay, dribbles a little bit. Yes, yeah, that's not brilliant. Right, I can see why you sent that one to the charity shop. I know. Okay, hang on. We have d4. We have d4. Wait a minute. We're not going to rush. I'm going to finish pouring the tea. Right. This is slow grown-up chessing now. Okay. Now, if I take, queen can't take. If I take, he's got e takes. We are seriously opening up. Or we can close down with the move e4 from black. Closes down the centre. Further messes things up for this bishop. But if I push here, I don't know if he's going to do that. He's got a big weakness there. But my bishop can maybe spin around. My dark square bishop. I can even attack here. That doesn't really help. Close or open, close or open. Closing down shuts down both of his bishops. Or even f4. Is that just crazy? If I take and pawn takes, his bishop comes to life there. I'm going to shut it. I'm shutting the centre. I don't know if that's the best approach, But I'm thinking maybe my queen's going to come here, my bishop's going to think about spinning round to the king side. Because look at this, like, again, still 7. I mean, he's got one pawn there locked on a light square for now. Here I'm still good. I still got bishop f7, now threatens to take here and win the pawn outright. Could just take, allow the knight to take there. Not sure what that's doing. Okay, I'm going in for this idea immediately. If he takes, I take with the knight probably. Or does my knight, which way does my knight want to go? My knight has ideas maybe coming round to the king side as well. So I've got 2 attackers on here. He can add a defender in the form of queen b3. A lot of pawn structure headaches going on. But that's what you get at 1600, eh? So I'm just threatening to take here and really just clog up this centre. Once that happens, my bishop may even want to come back round here, you know. If it's the right thing to do, it's the right thing to do, but I still don't know. I don't think where his weaknesses are going to be. Okay, we have takes. Now we have a serious decision to make. If knight takes, my knight has no forward prospects immediately, but pawn takes, I'm shutting his knight out of here and here. My knight remains flexible. I quite like it coming round to f6 actually. Still thinking of even a d5. But right now my bishop has interesting scope. d5 would really close, it would block both the d and e files, making life hard for all the bishops. Having said that, you know, my bishops do maybe have a bit more scope. I don't know. I just don't know anything. I don't like this knight. Knight might try and spin round here, but if he wants to trade that knight for my dark squared bishop, please be my guest. Okay. Wow. Wowzers in my trousers. What are we doing? What are we seeing here? He does not like the prospect of a closed centre. If I take and the knight comes into the middle of the board, I take, queen takes. This bishop is now becoming a force. This bishop is numb. Yeah, so I think he kind of had to do that to keep his bishop pointing down at my king side. That makes sense. If I push, takes, I have a stronger bishop. That knight takes. I mean, right now this pawn's hanging. Okay, so I need to have an idea. I could defend with a queen. Queen c7. He takes, I take. My queen is off the back rank, slightly more active. This long diagonal seems to be like coming to life. I push, takes. I think that looks okay. Am I worried about his knight giving him this square? Not really. I mean, if he comes here, he gets kicked away. Quite simply. This is a 15 plus 10, so there's an increment. And that means it's worth investing your time. Okay. Worth investing your time to get a better position. I have knight d7 now, giving me an option. If it takes, I take back with the knight and grab an outpost. I kind of like that. I'm kind of into that. Quite what his queen's doing with that, I'm not sure. Do I want to de-encourage this move, or can I respond to that move? Thing is, if I play my knight here, his knight comes in, this pawn hangs. So let's play a6 now to prevent this, with the idea of maybe knight d7. My knight then has options coming there, and then to this nice outpost on here. I'm trying to prove that this pawn is overextended. I have one eye on it. He's got two defenders right now. This is not really my style of chess, but it's all chess, mate. Have a closed e-file. Bringing my knight round to f7 makes it a bit of a target for this bishop at some point. Especially while my bishop's there and the rook can't capture. I don't want to capture with g. I don't want to be getting down there. I mean, it may be, king h8, rook g8 is possible. But I want to minimise the strength of this bishop. Now that he's managed to open or clear that d4 square, which I've let him do. But my idea is knight d7. Maybe jumping in here. Maybe jumping in there, It definitely has a future. Okay. Is he thinking about this? I could drop my bishop back to e7. But then he takes on here, right? Then I guess I can take with the pawn. My queen defends the bishop. Or I just take here. He can take with the pawn, opening up his rook a bit. Or I can just push on. Can I push on? No, I can't defend it with the pawn from there, but that doesn't feel right. Takes. I think this is his plan. Maybe I need to do this, but then he can bring a rook over to c1. Or queen e7. That hangs the bishop. That's troublesome. Can I just go ahead with this plan? If I go ahead with that plan, he takes here. He's only got one defender on that pawn now as well. Knight d7 adds another defender to both of these. Still gives me options. I like this knight. See how interesting it is that this is move 18 and my knight has only just developed itself, but it's the only time really when that knight has had a plan, or I've been able to come up with a plan for it. Also here, is he going to wipe out his really good bishop for my knight? I'm not sure if he will. Oh, positional chess. I just hate it. I wish I had James here. James loves this kind of stuff. I don't think he wants to take there, I really don't. This is not a good bishop by any stretch of the... I mean, it's got nothing. It's just going to be pacing back and forth right now until things open up. If he takes here, what am I going to do? I think I'll probably take with the bishop, because it gives my bishop a little bit of breathing room, and it's on a protected square, and there's no b-pawn that can ever... So it actually becomes an outpost, unless he wants to trade off, and if he trades off, happy days. My knight has made progress in the direction where it wants to be going, and it gets to make progress in a way that his bishop can't take it out. But does his bishop want to take it out? I just don't know. Don't know anything anymore. This isn't playable, obviously, because of his bishop. You know, could complete development on move 19. You never know. Might happen. He's down to 6 minutes too. This is a 9-7 game. There are 9 points on offer for a win. Lose 7 for a loss. Win 1 for a draw. As things stand, I would take a draw, baby. I don't think I'm any better. Queen has to defend this. I like the fact that he's having to think, oh, wow, okay. Something just happened. Okay, finally the f4 break comes. Now, my immediate reaction is to do nothing. I have one option to capture en passant, away from the centre, freeing up his e-pawn. I don't see any argument for doing that whatsoever. I'm thinking this. If he takes me out with his bishop, I have queen takes. No, I don't, because that hangs this bishop. Right now, that bishop's defended twice. Right, so both my knight and my queen are looking at these two squares. So is the correct move rook b8 to defend the bish? I think it probably is. Yeah, I'm going to leave this blockage here. Because I want to make this guy bad. Keep him bad. He's been bad for a while, I want to keep him bad. See, these closed files are so significant in games. But I really want to come after this pawn. Because this pawn is now blocked. It can't support that guy. Right? There is no c-pawn. Because, in fact, wasn't he? He was a c-pawn. Okay. Okay. Right. Bishop takes. Pins this pawn here. Defended only by the queen. This pawn is defended only by the queen. Right? Bishop takes. If knight takes bishop, I've got knight takes and I get to come in. I'm just doing it. Look. This is me just flying by the seat of my pants. Queen has to defend this. Because that is significant. Although this pawn's actually doing me a favour right now. Right? I have an attacker on here. My queen might come around. Okay, knight takes. There we go. Right. Rook attacks this. Bishop attacks this. He wants to checkmate me. That is your plan, is it? Checkmating me. Yes. I can eliminate the bishop. And I'm seriously thinking about that. That is a super powerful bishop. I have a good knight here. I take, queen recaptures, I win this pawn. I live to fight another day. My knight gets to come in here. He's left with a bad bishop, but he does have two rooks on a board that's really opening up. I have some pawn weaknesses. My bishop's in the way, you know, my queen, for example, could defend there. Now, queen f6 just doesn't make sense because he trades and wins, okay? So what we're doing, we are sacking the exchange. Down it goes. Queen must take. I think I capture here. This pawn is going to be a target. I know this, right? But I also have this now. Do I play this first? Any rook ever thinks about coming down, this knight's, I think this knight's got a future on that square. Here, he tries to skewer, It's alright, the queen defends that. We have to grab the pawn. Right? We're -1 right now. But he has a rubbish bishop. If his bishop ever tries to wriggle out that way, I can shut the door. Right? What he's going to do is he's going to move this rook. He's going to bring his bishop into the board this way, targeting my isolated A-pawn. He might also, well... Okay. What you doing? What you doing? You're attacking my undefended bishop. Get it. Okay. Come here. Defends the pawn. Yes. My knight is looking forward to its future home on d3. But there it's on a light square. Right? White only has a light squared bishop, so my knight would be much happier on a dark square, and it is on a dark square right now. Because on a dark square, this is the thing, when your opponent's only got one bishop, you want your knights on the opposite colour square in general, right? It's a general idea. Why? Because the bishop can't ever touch the knight, but the knight can touch the bishop, because the knight is on a dark square, so it's only looking at light squares, right? And these are they. So on a dark square, it's defending, for example, my light squared pawn. Bishop can never attack it, but it's covering up to 8 squares, and because it's in the middle 16, it is looking at 8 squares. So that actually, that knight is not badly placed there. I was just imagining that the knight would get stronger moving up to this outpost, but ain't necessarily the case. I think g6 is going to come at some point. I think this is going to come soon. Now having a bishop here and maybe a knight on here doesn't... Nah, I don't really see anything. But yeah, interesting tactical sequence there from white. And we are running out of time, so I'm just lining up non-mistake moves. If he pushes here, I can even drop my bishop up to there. That's you never know. Oh, actually, aha. Oh, you bugger. Right. This. So he's got double attacks on there. Do I just chuck my knight into the outpost? I said I could do that. I can do that. He's taken. Ah! Ah! See, snap move and tactical blunder. If I take the rook, well, I've got to, really. Okay, and now I'm going to be a piece down for a pawn. And this pawn is... All my pawns are weak. Hell's teeth. Okay, now he's threatening to take here. Don't know if there's anything I can do about it other than counterattack there. Counterattack the bishop. This pawn is defensible. Got a really weak load of pawns here. This is a potential weakness, this guy here. That's a check. I have to step out of the way. Queen can now take that. Queen's attacking here. Let's just move it onto a dark square. This pawn is defended. Right, and this is the point where the position now breaks down and you find out who was better. And I think we're finding out that it was my opponent, Lemon 777. Okay, I'm going to come here, I think. Defending my pawn, defending this pawn. Pinning this one. The queen has to defend this pawn. I have an idea of this. He must then defend with his rook. But the pawn is still pinned. I might do this. I might even wriggle my king over to h7 at some point. Okay, so he's anticipated this. I'm going to make this... Am I going to make this move? Should I just do this? Then he's got... Well, he can't check me with a queen. He can force a trade of queens, though, if I do that. So I'm gonna keep it on the dark square for now. But do I want my rook on the open file instead? No, I think here. Oh, I've just dropped this pawn. Cock it. Well, if so, I take here. Alright. Now this. He can still force a trade of queens. He's a full bishop up. Right, so he's in an absolutely winning position. I think I've got to do that. I'm expecting him to force the trade of queens. I mean, there's only one legal move from there. I have to trade. Takes. I can't really take. There we go. Yeah. I think this is now completely winning for white. But these pawns are on dark squares. I need to improve. Oh. I need not to hang my rook. My rook can defend these two pawns from here. I'm going to have a real job here. Skew the king, it drives it backwards to defend this pawn. This king probably wants to come up. I don't know, but I am buggered here. Properly buggered. And I don't know at this point, at what point the buggering began. You know, I probably made positional errors, not being that strong a positional player. That teapot's crap. Okay, I'm doing this. He's defending this pawn, that's what he's doing. Okay, so this, are you going to push? Okay, let's improve the king. Now, there are two open files on the board, right? I'm on one, I'm controlling one of them, but his rook's just vacated the other one. Just to protect the pawn. Okay. I don't want to put my pawn on a light square at all. I'm not into that idea whatsoever. I think I'm going to put my king here to stop the rook from coming in there. Now, is he going to want to come here? Or is he going to want to push this pawn onto a light square and then put his bishop there? There are three open files now, actually. Three. I miscounted. It's going to be very hard for me to stop his rook from coming into all of them. His bishop's defending this, his rook's defending this. He's probably going to want to do this. That's what I would do. So the bishop defends both pawns. No, it's a very bad position now. Do I want to try and bring my king in? I don't know, I'll just try it. Sod it, we'll try it. If he gives check, though. Okay, he gives check with a pawn. Interesting. I think I just can come back. There. And he can't defend both. Oh, he still can. He's still got that move. Of course he has. Yeah. But tactical, again, this is a 1600 level game, still decided by tactics. But it's the position that leads to the tactics. I'm not expecting to win this whatsoever, especially with the increment on. I can't put that's where my king would like to be, and it can't. His bishop can go to this square at any time. And this is dead lost. Just make a move. Tie his king in. Yeah, that's the move we saw coming. Now my king is also quarantined because he's got the rook there on the open file. He has this. I can move here. Okay. I mean, it's absolutely resignable, to be honest, right now. I just have no flexibility at all. What's he doing? Is he coming in here to attack this pawn? I think we can resign that and just have a quick look at the game review. So let's fire that up while I wipe up the dribbles from my middle-aged teapot. I've got anything to wipe them up with. Managed to buy a teapot with enlarged prostate. My opponent played with 90 accuracy and I played with 85, right? That is good. I made one blunder, which was to put my knight on the outpost where I said it didn't have to go. Right, and that was a move I played quickly, you realise. And this was a tactical mistake. I didn't realise this pawn is pinned. It's there, it's right there on the board. The pawn is pinned. Therefore, it's not protecting that square. And up to that point, it was really, really balanced. I'm not even going to bother going through this, because here, it's 0.3 difference. Right, we played great. I didn't like the exchange sack. That's really interesting. Okay, we'll just pick a couple of points, right? What is the best move then here? Okay. So here I'm expecting queen trade. Yes. Queen trade, g takes, bishop takes. It's still 0.3. But then I have a pawn. Machine saying rook b7, and it's saying knight b3, and it's saying rook f to c8. Still balanced. Well, well, well. But I didn't even consider that possibility. Well, I did. I mean, I considered it and I discarded it immediately because it lost the pawn and opened up my king. But after this, he's still got a bad bishop here. I have two active rooks and I've got a very nice knight. And I have potentially a pawn here. Right, now after this move, is that a bad move? He has a fork. So yeah, the next thing is to prevent that fork, and obviously, you know, the bishop controls the square, so my rook couldn't have defended that. Yeah? But so what move was that? That move was move 22. Let's go back to the game. Move 22. I did take a minute. I did take a minute over that move. From this position. Okay, but this is the thing. But there's a lot of positives to take out of this. Okay, so that was pointless. That was the wrong approach. It was a bit gung-ho. And then from there, a blunder. And the game fell apart. But from this point, so there were two major issues there. Okay, let's look at the review. How many mistakes, how many blunders? 2 mistakes, 1 blunder. First mistake was a6. At this point, should have played my knight out, and we are dead equal. Okay, so in respect of the road to 1700, I mean, I am learning 1600 level stuff. Okay, still absolutely there's tactics involved. I feel like I stepped up in terms of positional play to a degree. I got let down by tactics later on, and I think this kind of critical move here when I took there, instead of this sequence, realizing that, well, what's critical on the board? Okay, well, I have to defend this. Well, I have to prevent this fork. That's the point, right? I have to prevent this fork. So Rook b7 prevents it. That's the point. And also maybe prepares to double up. And here I'm only down a pawn, but right now he's down a bishop as well. He has an undefended pawn here. So I kind of failed to spot what was critical on the board in that movement, in this position. And that's what I'm really trying to improve right now. So very, very interesting stuff. And I figure like, if I can learn these lessons, I'm definitely growing in some respects. These are the lessons I need to learn to get from 1600 to 1700. And right now we're down to 1609, but feeling good. Anyway, hope that was useful for you guys. Definitely useful for me. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you soon.